Hello, I'm doing a book review, and the book I want to review is 2B by Mark Allan Gunnells. Now, 2B was published this year, 2021. Now, Mark Allan Gunnells, if that name sounds familiar, I've reviewed several of his books in the past, like Sequel, The Summer of Winters, October Roses, The Quarry, and several others. But Mark Allan Gunnells is also a friend of mine, and he's contributed to several of my videos in the past. Now, I believe this is his latest book so far, and honestly, and I know some people might accuse me of being biased because he is a friend of mine, but honestly, this might be his best book, at least out of what I've read from him so far. I also think it's probably his most well-written book. Now, the plot of 2B is it's about a young man named Berkley Simmons who survives an attempted murder by his abusive ex-boyfriend, Kevin, who ended up committing suicide after thinking Berkley was dead, and it turns out that Berkley was clinically dead for 5 minutes. But a few days later, he's released from the hospital, and he returns to his apartment, and he's trying to deal with the emotional and psychological scars, not only of almost dying, but also of his abusive relationship with Kevin in general. But very soon, Berkley starts experiencing paranormal activity in his apartment, and it appears that Kevin's ghost has lingered and has not yet moved on to heaven or hell, and won't until he finishes the job. And Berkley tries to reach out to his best friend, to his neighbor, to his coworker, but none of them are really able to help him. But 2B I thought was very good, and what I really liked about this was it was really more about a young man dealing with the trauma of being in an abusive relationship. And all the stuff dealing with Berkley's relationship with Kevin, I honestly thought was more compelling than the supernatural stuff. And it felt so raw and so honest and so authentic, and I feel like anybody, gay or straight, who has been in an abusive relationship could probably relate to the character of Berkley. And this honestly felt more like a study on abusive relationships and the kind of scars that abusive relationships can leave behind, masquerading as a ghost story. It actually reminded me, granted this wasn't a ghost movie, but it reminded me of what the most recent adaptation of The Invisible Man did. And the character of Kevin, when you find out a little bit about his backstory, he is a somewhat sympathetic character. It doesn't excuse what he does later on to Berkley, but it does feel very real because a lot of abusers in real life were actually abused themselves. Of course, that doesn't excuse their current behavior, but again, it really does make the character of Kevin feel very real and very authentic. And the ending of this book is very sad and tragic, but it fits the melancholy tone of the story. But 2B is a very good book, and I highly recommend it. But that was my review on 2B by Mark Allan Gunnells, and bye.